African tribes, including the Xhosas of South Africa, the Maasai, the Yoruba, the Shona, the Igbo, the Zulus, the Hottentots, the Tutsis, the Ashantis, and many more, practiced Jewish customs, spoke partially Jewish languages, and were of Jewish biological origin, of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, guys. Okay, so this is the name of the book here, guys. The Lost Tribes, a Myth. Suggestions towards rewriting Hebrew history by Allen H. Godby. Okay, guys, now here we are on page 255. We're gonna see if we can learn something very important. Okay, so there's a man that calls himself Bishop Matthews in this book. Let's see what he claims about the Negro race. Bishop Matthews claims that one or two groups of his peculiar organization are among the sectaries in Abyssinia, and that there are other Negro synagogues in America whose organizing impulse came from Abyssinia. Abyssinia, I believe, is in Ethiopia, guys. But he does not specify them. He has gained many American Negro members. As for himself, he says that his grandfather was one of the black Jews of Nigeria. Damn. He was carried to what? Saint Christopher's in the West Indies. This is during the transatlantic slave trade he's talking about now. There, Bishop Matthews' father and himself were born. So he was born in the West Indies. And then he came to America 16 years ago in 1913, guys. That's over 100 years ago. And has mastered the English language since. Okay, so let's see what Bishop Matthews, this man who claims to be a descendant of the black Jews of Nigeria, let's see what he says next. He says thus: Bishop Matthews claims an immemorial Jewish ancestry, but since that ancestry is Negro, it follows that the Negroes were the original Jews. Okay, very important point right there, something that everyone needs to hear from this Bishop Matthews, who claims to be a descendant of the black Jews of Nigeria. Okay, so let's talk about who some of these black Jews might be. Okay, so here we are on this book. This book is titled West African Countries and Peoples by James Africanus Horton. This book was published in the year 1868, guys, very old book. Let's see what this book has to say about the Igbo people. Okay, so here we are on this page, guys. We are on page, I believe this is 169. That's where we are on this page. I want you guys to see the heading of this page first. It's titled Empire of the Igbos. Yes, this is talking about the Igbos of Nigeria. Okay, so let's zoom in. Let's see what the page says. Empire of the Igbos. Listen to this, guys. The 10 tribes of Israel, after they were left to follow the dictates of their own mind, and during the commotion and destructive warfare which ensued, to escape utter extermination, migrated according to the usage of the times in vast numbers into various countries, but principally into northern Africa, as it then presented the safest and easiest route. Once settled, every commotion and intestine war means like civil war, wars within Africa, had the most powerful effect of inducing these bands to shift their abode still further, deeper into Africa, and so lose all connection with the other branch of their tribe, with the other Israelite ethnic groups, other tribes who are also Israelites as well. As hundreds of years pass on and generation after generation roll away, they lost a great many of their habits and customs, becoming more amalgamated with the population with which they associated. But when Mohammedanism, the Arabs, overspread northern Africa, they forcibly converted many Israelites into being Muslims. Let's see what happened. Destroying by fire and sword all those of another religion, the Israelite descendants, the Igbos in this case, it's talking about the Igbos right here, or the inhabitants occupying the central portion of Africa, passed forward, seeking shelter to the south and into West Africa, a part, namely those from the east central, crossing the Benue or Joliba branch of the Niger. This is the river Niger is speaking of, but the accurate pronunciation of this word is nigger, guys. Okay, I will show you guys that in another book. Descended gradually southward and became intermingled with the original inhabitant, protected from the incursion on the north by the Benue River, and quietly settled between the Great Niger, or the Great Niger for you guys, and the old Calabar rivers. Okay, so this is talking about the Igbos. Okay, and he calls them what? The 10 tribes of Israel. So it's time for the Igbos to wake up, okay? Come out of Christianity, come out of Islam and these other religions. That is not who you are. You are not Gentiles. Those things are Gentile religion, okay? And trust me when I say the Christianity that exists today is not the same one that you read about that Paul and the other apostles started in the New Testament. It's not the same thing, guys, okay? What we have today is a complete joke filled with Gentiles and hedonistic practices. It's time for us to come out and reconnect with our true heritage as the Israelites of the Bible, guys. Okay, it's time. As hundreds of years pass on and generations after generations roll away, they lose a great many of their habits and customs. This reminds me of Jeremiah 17 verse 4, guys. This is God speaking to the Israelites. And you, even yourself, shall discontinue from the heritage that I gave you, and I will cause you to serve your enemies in the land which you know not. For you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Okay, very powerful stuff. So that is how we discontinue from our heritage. From generation to generation, we remember less and less of who we originally were, guys. Okay, that's what you are reading right here in this book. That is history coming to life before your eyes. Let's see another book, guys. So now we are in this book called Black Jews in Africa and the Americas by Tudor Parfit. Okay, this book is not that old, guys. I think it was published in 2013. Yeah, 2013. It's not a very old book, but this book has a lot of references to books that are much older, which is why I actually like this book. Okay, so here we are now, guys. Same book. We're on page 133. Let's see what this book says. The claims of the Inadad in Mali, who claims descent from King David, or traditions in Uganda claiming an ancient lineage of 33 kings going back to King David, or the Ethiopians whose claim goes back to King Solomon, or let's see some other people that also claim to descend from the lines of the Israelites. Listen to this, guys. Or the Igbos, the Tutsis, the Maasai, the Yoruba, or some of the Yib clan in Somalia, or of the black Jews in different parts of the United States, evoking very ancient Ethiopian, Middle Eastern, or Israelite ancestry, guys. Okay, very powerful stuff. It's time for us to wake up, guys. This book here mentioned a few. If your own ethnic group is not here, but you are part of the Negro race, you too are an Israelite. Let me make that clear. You are one of those ethnic groups that exists within the Negro race. You need to know that you are the true Israelites, guys. Okay, the world is hiding this massive secret from you. Okay, this is actually the biggest secret in the entire world. The world and all these Gentile nations, they have used their Gentile religions, whether it's Christianity or Islam or any of the other ones, to cover our eyes, guys. Okay, those other religions, those philosophies, other beliefs, those are the gross darkness that we read about in the scripture, guys. The gross darkness that has covered the people. Okay, it's false religion, Gentile religion, guys. Okay, no Negro, not a single Negro on the earth today should be part of any of these other religions. No, you need to come back to your true heritage as the Israelites the Bible speaks of, guys. That's who we are. Okay, so this is page 11. We're going to read a lot in this page, okay, but I'm going to try and make it as fun as possible. I'm going to read from right here. Listen to what it says here, guys. In these fragmentary glimpses drawn from a variety of sources, we can see that the Jews were considered to be black, to have a number of African physical qualities, and that is true, guys. I've showed you guys in other books that the Jews that were in London, they were swarthy and they had an African look, guys. Okay, so yeah, they definitely had African physical qualities, and ultimately to have a good deal of what? African blood, because they are Negroes, guys. Similarly, black Africans in the 19th century and before, in a vast and extraordinary number of cases, were taught to be Jews because the Jews are black, and indeed to have both Jewish characteristics and to be descendants from the ancient Israelite stock. From the medieval times to the present, Jews have been taught to have black blood in their veins and to have a number of African physical and other characteristics, including an African nose, an African proportion, talking about, you know, the boobs that our sisters have, the butts that our sisters have, and other features that are unique to the Negro race specifically, guys, okay? And of course, an African skin color, okay? Open your eyes, guys. They know the Jews had all these things because the Jews are the Negroes are the Jews, okay? Tough, man. Similarly, over the same time span, in a long-running discourse about black Africans, we're assumed to have Jewish blood, Jewish characteristics, Jewish looks, Jewish abilities, and Jewish habits. The supposedly Jewish origin of some black African communities were taken to explain a wide variety of hard to understand African customs and beliefs, which were assumed to be predicated upon Jewish customs and belief. Often, colonial officials and missionaries imagined that various African languages were connected with Hebrew, Aramaic, and other Semitic tongues, guys, okay? All these languages that we are speaking, whether it's Yoruba, Igbo, many of these languages, they are not Gentile languages, guys. They are derived from the ancient languages that the Israelites may have been speaking, because I'm sure our languages has changed over time, okay? And frequently, they would maintain that they derive directly from the Hebrew. Yes, okay, this is something that the world knows. They're hiding it from us, guys, okay? But it's time for us to wake up. Now listen to this very important stuff from here, guys. Such identifications were made out of a genuine desire to comprehend the seemingly impenetrable customs, religions, and languages encountered on the colonial frontier. So when the Caucasians were coming to colonize Africa, they encountered a lot of people that had customs and traditions that were very similar to what the Israelites of the Bible had, because the people that they were encountering, the people that they were enslaving, the people that they were colonizing were the Israelites. Ethnographers, missionaries, and colonial civil servants and travelers time and time again maintained that African tribes, including the Xhosas of South Africa, the Maasai, the Yoruba, the Shona, the Igbo, the Zulus, the Hottentots, the Tutsis, the Ashantis, and many more, practiced Jewish customs, spoke partially Jewish languages, and were of Jewish biological origin, of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, guys. Okay, that's what we're dealing with here. It's time for all of us to wake up and realize that we have been lied to by our Caucasian slave masters, our Caucasian colonizers, guys, okay? And these books cannot mention every single ethnic group. There are thousands of ethnic groups within the Negro race, guys. It will take forever to mention them. These tribes you are seeing here, especially the Yorubas and the Igbos, we are amongst the three largest tribes, not just in Nigeria but in all of Africa, guys. That's why you would see a lot of books that mention the Yorubas, the Igbos, and the Hausas, especially those three. You see a lot of books that mention them, okay? In this one here, it doesn't even mention the Hausas, but yes, the Hausas are part of these people. They are Israelites as well, guys, okay? Along with many other ethnic groups within the Negro race. It's time for us to wake up, guys, okay? It's time. Check this out, guys. Today, there are millions of black Jews, Israelites, or Hebrews, most of them at least partially Christian in Africa, okay? Come out of Christianity, guys. And the same thing for Islam as well, because we have many of our Hausa brothers who don't know that they are Israelites. In Islam, their identity is hidden from them. They think that they are Gentiles. They are not Gentiles. You are the Israelites. It's time for you to wake up and come out of these things, okay? So they are partially Christian in Africa, in Europe, and the Americas, who practice some aspect of Judaism or have some kind of Israelite, Jewish, Hebrew identity, and who in most cases believe they are descended from the ancient Hebrews, okay? The Negro race. I'm gonna make this clear. The Negro race are the Israelites of the Bible. It's time for us to wake up, guys. It's time, okay? It really is time for us to wake up. Please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm going to be releasing many of my videos earlier on my Patreon page, so if you guys want to see all the videos that I will make, I highly recommend you go over to my Patreon and donate as little as $1 to get early access to my content before they show up on YouTube, okay? So guys, that is it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.